Hello viewers, yes, if you have not subscribed to my channel up till now, please do, and don't forget to press the like button. Hello viewers, yes, this is Ranjana ma'am and you are watching, yes, it's my channel as well as yours. So the thumbnail says it all, I know it, but you must be wondering why ma'am has stopped Shakespeare and turned to prose and poems. Yeah, I got quite a few requests, ma'am, please start prose and poems. So that is why I've shifted a little from Shakespeare to poems first and then of course prose. So this is of course for my ISC students telephone conversation. So this poem had also earlier been in the ISC syllabus quite a few years back, maybe 2 to 3 syllabus back. I used to teach this poem in ISC, telephone conversation. So this poem, through this poem, the poet is trying to point out the racist attitude of people. They are so inconsiderate, they don't bother to think or feel about the inhuman behavior they are meting out towards another human being. So telephone conversation points out racism at its worst. So let's start first. The price seemed reasonable. Location indifferent. The landlady swore she lived off premises. Nothing remained but self-confession. Madam, I warned, I hate a wasted journey. I'm African. Silence. Silence, transmission of pressurized good breeding. Voice, when it came, lipstick coated, long gold rolled cigarette holder pipped. Caught I was foully. So, in the first stanza, we find that the speaker, he is a dark skinned person, he is an African, and he is looking for a house on rent. So that is why he is talking to his landlady. Telephone conversation, the conversation between the landlady and the person looking for a house. He wants a house on rent. Prospective tenant, you can say. So the landlady, when he talks with the landlady and the price which she says regarding the rent, so he finds it reasonable. So yes, that means she doesn't go for an expensive, she doesn't charge an expensive rent, she is not charging an expensive rent, so it is reasonable for him. He finds the price or the charge reasonable. The price seemed reasonable. Location indifferent. So location also, it's neither bad nor good, moderate, indifferent. The landlady swore she lived off premises. So many times people might have problems when the landlady or the landlord lives in the same premises. So she is swearing, I don't live close by, I live off premises, I don't live here. So there is nothing else remaining. The price is reasonable, the location, yes, neither bad nor good, suitable, and the landlady also assures him that I don't stay nearby. So nothing else is remaining. So now the speaker feels, I should make a confession. I warned, I hated a wasted journey. Why does he say he hated a wasted journey? That means he must have had experience, bad experience, sour experience, bitter experience of being turned down just because he is an African or a dark skinned person. So that is why he wants to tell it, he wants to confess it to the landlady. He doesn't want to go there and then seeing him she should refuse. Oh, you are a dark skinned person, I thought you are a white person, because your name or your when you speak your thought, I would rather say your speech doesn't give out what you are. Your appearance shows whether you are dark or fair. So that is why he feels that no, I don't want a wasted journey, means after I go and then you refuse me, rather let me confess I am an African. So self confession, it is as if he is guilty of something, like prisoners, they give confessions. So he feels as if guilty. Why? Because society makes him feel guilty. That shows the racist attitude of the people. The white people, they consider that, oh, he is a black person, he is not fit to be among us, and all that racist attitude. So a person looked down upon. Why? Looked at with contempt. Why? Because of the color of his skin. So he says that yes, I am warning you, I am an African. Now what happens? Silence, transmission of pressurized good breeding. So when he says that I am an African, now how does the lady react to it? So the lady, she feels, first she is silent. Why? Because she had not expected him to be an African. So she was quite happy at on getting a tenant. Most probably she was desperately looking for a tenant, and the price, he agrees with the price, and then everything goes on fine. But now his revelation that he is an African, so this must be a bolt from the blue. So silence, transmission of pressurized good breeding. So yes, she is cultured, she is bred up well, so she remains silent for some time, and finally she finds her voice when it came. So the poet, or we can also say the speaker, he ridicules or he sarcastically he speaks about her voice when it comes through the telephone. Lipstick coated. So he has not seen the lady, he just imagines that the lady must be speaking, she must be from a high society, with lipstick, heavily lipstick coated, and must be smoking from a gold roll cigarette holder, smoking cigarette from a gold roll cigarette holder. Caught I was foully. So yes, he considers himself to be foully caught. Why? Because of the question she puts forward. The voice, when it regains composure, first though she is shocked, but after regaining her composure, when she says, or when she puts forward the question, he feels himself foully caught. Why? How dark? Does anyone ask a person, how dark are you? So this is not sign of good breeding. How can you say it's good breeding? That silence maybe was good breeding while she was hunting for the appropriate word to put forward a question to him. But the way when she says how dark, I had not misheard. So first he feels, what does she mean by how dark? He says I'm an African, and suddenly she says how dark. I had not misheard. No, I had not heard her wrongly. She asked me this question, how dark. So he couldn't figure out what she really intended in asking how dark. Are you light or very dark? Now she makes it more precise. She makes it more explicit, more clear to him. That means, are you light dark or are you deep dark? So what will she do with his skin color? And she doesn't stay in the premises also, she stays off premises. So, but still, that is how black people are treated. Button B, button A. So it is like in the telephone booth you are pressing either button B and or button A. One is to continue with the call or one is to get back the coin, whatever. If you are light dark, press button A. If you are deep dark, press button B. As if she is asking a question of this type. A stench of rancid breath of public hide and speak. We say hide and seek, the game hide and seek, but here hide and speak because he cannot see the landlady cannot see him. So, but her words, he can feel the words, they seem to be stinking when she is speaking on the other side of the phone. So her words are coming as if like stale breath. Why? Because of the question she is putting, the indecent, inhuman questions. So it seems as if he cannot smell her, he can just hear her, but the words which he hears coming from her, they as if seem to be stinking. Rancid breath of public hide and speak. Hide and speak, he is referring to the telephone. Red booth, red pillar box, red double tired omnibus squelching tar. It was real. So he looks around him, everywhere there is color. The booth, telephone booth, it is red. The pillar box is red. The double decker bus, it is also red, and walking which is moving on the road, black road, squelching tar. It was real. So he couldn't believe his ears. What she is asking me, it's real. I'm not imagining. Shamed by ill-mannered silence, surrender pushed dumbfoundment to beg simplification. Considerate she was, varying the emphasis. So he feels that he was too shocked to reply for some moments, and then he feels ashamed that this is ill manners, I should answer her, but he is not able to understand her question, and that is why he says, could you be more precise? Why don't you explain it in a more explicit manner? So now what does she do? She emphasizes the same question. She repeats the same question, emphasizing it. Are you dark or very light? That means, are you very dark or light, very light dark? Revelation came. So he understands, oh, she is talking of my skin complexion. So first she had said, how dark? Are you light or very dark? And now she again emphasizes the same question. Now revelation strikes him. You mean like plain or milk chocolate? So chocolate. So do you mean to ask me whether my complexion is very dark or light dark? In the same way as you would differentiate between chocolate, plain chocolate, and milk chocolate. Milk chocolate will be a little light in color than the plain chocolate. Her accent was clinical, yeah. So she agrees in a clinical manner, crushing in its light impersonality. Rapidly, wavelength adjusted, I chose. So now he feels I should give her a nice answer to her indecent question. So he adjusts the receiver of the telephone, and then he chooses to answer in this way. What does he say? West African sepia. This is what he tells her. This is my skin complexion. West African sepia, brownish. And as an afterthought, then he adds a little more. After second thoughts coming to his mind, he adds, down in my passport. That is what is mentioned in my passport. My skin color as mentioned in my passport is West African sepia. Silence for spectroscopic flight of fancy till truthfulness clanged her accent. Hard on the mouthpiece. What's that? Conceding, don't know what that is. So she tries to think like she tries to think of the colors. Spectro, it comes from the word spectrum or rainbow. So she tries to think of the colors, chocolate brown, light brown, what could be West African sepia. So she tries to think of the different types of colors you find in a rainbow spectrum. And finally, so she lets her imagination wander to pinpoint what is West African sepia, and finally she is when she is unable to do it, so she shouts out loudly, what's that? What's West African sepia? And she acknowledges that I don't know what West African sepia is. Like brunette, so like brown, deep brown. So the speaker answers, that's dark, isn't it? So these are in bold letters. So she is loudly talking. So she is saying, yeah, so that seems to be quite dark, not light dark, it's quite dark, right? Not altogether. So he feels now I should also give her a befitting reply, because he feels that as if he is being treated in a very inhuman manner. He feels insulted. Why should you insult me on the basis of my color? So this is racism. So now he feels I should also give her a very befitting reply. So sarcastically, what does he say? Facially, I am brunette. So if you judge me by my face, I am brown. But madam, you should see the rest of me. So if you want to have a clear impression of me, why don't you see the full me? The palm of my hand, soles of my feet are a peroxide blonde. So when hydrogen peroxide is used to make the hair light, so the palm of my hand and my feet, the soles of my feet, they are of that color. Yeah, they can't be black even if you are dark. So these are peroxide blonde. So a yellowish sort. Friction caused foolishly, madam, by sitting down has turned my bottom raven black. This is the best answer. He says that his bottom, that means his hips, they have become raven. Raven is it belongs to the crow family, a bigger, much bigger size. You can say giant among crows. So that is a deep dark color bird, raven, giant crow. So he says the color of his hips, they are dark black like that of a raven. And why? Because of lots of sitting down, and the friction on account of sitting down has made his bottom black, raven black rather. One moment, madam. Why does he say one moment? Because now he feels that the landlady must be feeling insulted. You have the right to insult others by asking how dark you are, but you can't take it when he is just giving her back in her own coin. So now she can't take it, so she is going to slam the receiver, and he senses it. So he says, one moment, madam, sensing her receiver rearing on the thunderclap about my ears. Madam. So he knows that the next thing she will do is to put the receiver down on the cradle with a loud bang. So he just tells, one moment, madam. Madam, I pleaded, wouldn't you rather see for yourself? So instead of hearing through the telephone, why don't you see for yourself how dark my bottom is, or how are the hands and feet, how are the soles of my feet or the palms of my hand, how is my face? Why don't you see for yourself? So this is a very nice reply he gives to the landlady. I think this is how these people should be treated, the racist people. God has created all of us. We have no right to insult others. Oh, so even in schools and colleges, if you find someone dark, don't we hear it? Oh, Kalua. Oh, he's a Kalua. Or she looks like a crow. So we insult people for things on which they have no hand. Someone is black, someone is fair, someone is brown. So what is so high and mighty about being fair? Or why should a person who is dark feel so embarrassed because of the color of his skin? Right in the beginning, the self-confession. Why should he confess that he is African? As if he is a prisoner or as if he has committed some sin. So you go to the confession box. Christians, they go to the confession box to confess. So as if he has committed a sin by being born as an African. So he is an African, but that is not in his hands. He has not done it himself. And so even if he is born an African, that is no crime, it is no sin, but self-confession. So when the British came to rule India, we are not dark as Africans, but even in comparison to them, we were called niggers. Indians were called niggers. Even racism, like when South Africa, after being banned from international cricket for quite some years because of their racist policies, when they were again allowed to enter international tournaments and all that. So our Indian team, when they came to India, we took them in a procession with a lot of fanfare. First time when they come back after the banishment. And when our cricketers, after that, when our cricketers, Manoj Prabhakar and all those, they went to Africa to play, and there were quite a few clubs where they did not allow Indians, only fair people. Those hotels were only for white people. So in spite of being punished, they still don't learn their lessons. So they had been banned. In spite of being banned for so many years, racism exists there. So it is a very nice poem written by the poet. He is a Nigerian poet. Naturally, he should be dark skinned. So the indecent behavior of the people which they have to face time and again. So it is now time to give a befitting reply, and the poem is a very nice reply to those so-called racists. So anything more to ask? Just wait, I'll discuss the theme and the other ones. So if we delve deeper into the poem, we will find that this landlady, as she has been described in the poem, lipstick coated. So she might be coming from an upper background, high society, but at the same time she is not really cultured. How can you call her cultured when she asks someone about his skin color? He has said he is an African, so you should understand, but she wants to know more. Deep dark, light dark. So she is nothing in spite of her high upbringing, these lipstick coated long gold roll cigarette holder and all that is attached to her. She is just nothing but a shallow racist. She is a judgmental racist, we should say. So naturally she keeps on. She might be educated, but I wouldn't say in the proper sense. She has no manners. How can you ask someone in this way? In comparison, rather this speaker seems to have a better vocabulary when he says West African sepia. And then naturally the woman, she tries to imagine what could it be, she wonders, but her limited vocabulary does not allow her to understand the color. Sepia, that makes her maybe dumbfounded. She gets puzzled, confused as to what color it is. And then what does she do? Loudly she says, what's that? Don't know what. So finally she confesses her ignorance of this term. So limited vocabulary. Gold rolled cigarette holder, just smoking and heavily lipstick coated doesn't make you very educated or refined or cultured. Refinement and culture comes from within, not on the on the superficial level. She might seem to be of a woman coming from high society, but if you delve deep into her, you will find that she lacks basic foundation. So the speaker outwits her in the final because he has felt insulted. There is a deep sense of anger within him. So he knows he is not going to get the house because of her bias. So he feels that, yeah, then there is nothing to be so polite to her. In spite of that, in a fake politeness, he answers that I am not different from others. I am not completely dark. Facially I am brunette, but the rest, my palms, the palms of my hand are just like yours. The soles of my feet, they are just like yours. But yes, I can't help about my bottom. Sitting too frequently or too often, it has become dark, just like that of a raven. And he knows that he has outwitted her and she has understood this. So that is why he knows the next thing she would do is to slam the receiver down on the cradle. So he very politely, but in a sarcastic manner, says that why don't you come and see for yourself? Come and see what? Come and see my black bottom. So he has very nicely answered her, because he had been getting it all the time. Dark, how dark? Are you light? Very dark. So he feels that yes, I should also give her back. Enough of it. I am not going to tolerate anymore. But in a very polite manner, or rather a fake politeness, he tells her all about his skin. So my hands and palms are not different from other Europeans. So he sends through this poem. What does the poet try to do? I think he also must have faced similar discrimination in society. So that is why he is sending out a message to the world that dark skinned people are no less intelligent than white skinned people. We are no less intelligent. Yes, just see how he outwits the lady. Instead of asking about his background or his educational qualification or his job, what is he doing, she is probing into his skin color. So yes, in a way he doesn't lose his cool, but in a very polished manner he gives her back. In the same coin, he can be as insulting. He also insults her, but he does it very politely. So through this, the poet is trying to send a message. Don't mistreat, don't insult black people or people just on the basis of their color. So don't be a racist. So this is all about telephone conversation. It's a simple poem. And yes, the poem follows a blank verse pattern. There are no regular rhyme schemes here, or rather there is no rhyme scheme. It follows like the first line, the price seemed reasonable, location indifferent. So it goes to the next line and ends there, and then it again continues. The landlady, she swore she lived off premises. So it follows the blank verse pattern, no definite rhyme scheme. And then there are quite a few alliterations also. Silence, silenced, transmission, silence, transmission. And not only that, there are quite a few examples like red booth, red pillar box, red double tired omnibus. So at the end, this is a message for the people of the world. This reminds me of the poem which you all had read in your ICSE. I know why the cage bird sings. So there also Maya Angelou, remember it? So she and her black Americans, there it is not African but black Americans, they also suffered indignation, and she compared herself and the black Americans as the cage birds, and white people white people as free bird, getting all the chances in the world. Wherever you want you can fly, and the cage bird with nothing to do but to sing. Wings are clipped, feet tied, so the cage bird only sings out, sings of freedom. So there is a little bit of similarity, because both of them, they speak of the racist tendency of the white people, the inhuman behavior of the white people towards those who are not white. So I think I have explained it in a very lucid manner. If you have some comments, you can always write it in the comment section, and for the time being, bye.